Wink. Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. This is the segment that I like to call the wellness segment. And today I'm just going to answer a few questions that somebody had sent me an email. So, and we always just going to review and repeat. First, before we get into that, what do I always say? Let's turn to. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT, and you can refer to me as Miss T. And today we're going to do some review. Before we get started, we always like to do water check. I've had like 5 bottles of water. Everybody who knows, I do the water check in the beginning of the show. We shoot for 100 ounces per day. And technically, we say that you have to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So I've had about 5 today. That means I have 40 ounces because I do little 8-ounce bottles. You can chime in. I put the link in the chat. Please join in the chat. I put the link so that anybody who want to get their testimonies, we have some of you who have emailed me and started your own personal journey. And for those of you who are new to my show, instead of saying diet, I say journey. So we're interested in finding the health in you, fixing the issues that you may have health-wise. And the things that you want, like a lot of you probably, contact me because you say, I want to lose weight. I never approach the situation as losing weight. You can go back and look at the previous shows. I come on every Sunday at 1 p.m. So you can go back and look at those previous shows. You'll know the difference between that show and my boxing channel. When I'm talking about boxing, you'll know the difference because the icon is an apple. Those are my wellness shows. So again, when you contact me, I don't do the approach like trying to fix the symptoms. I try to fix the problem. And all we're doing is finding the health in us. We have to clean out our system to find out what ails us. And you never know. It could be one little thing that you consume on a regular. Like I know a person who, when they use ketchup, they have a problem with ketchup. But they wouldn't know it because they eating a whole lot of stuff. They don't know where the problem is coming from. So when you eliminate everything and then slowly introduce one by one some things that you just like and that you gotta have as a permanent staple, you're gonna get the telltale sign. But when you eating everything that could be the culprit, you won't know. So that's the whole purpose of my wellness show, is helping people find the health in them. It's a journey that I had to take on in my life, in my personal life. And that's what this segment is called, finding the health in you. So today I'm going to be going over or rehashing things that I've talked about before, but tailoring them to specific questions that somebody might have asked. And today's question is about the different types of fats. Wink, wink. So, we just have to get into that. And as many times as you ask is as many times as I'm going to say something about it. So today topic, like I said, different types of fat. And I had talked to you before in one of my shows about adipose tissue. And and the difference between the different adipose tissue, because you have several different adipose tissues in your body. And you have the white ones and you have the brown ones. Those are the two most common ones and most prevalent and most important ones. But they do different jobs. You also have yellow and you also have blue. But the one that you like, the one that you will prefer, is the brown. So, white adipose tissue. The acronym is WAT, W-A-T, or white fat. Is one of the two types of adipose tissue found in mammals. And you'll see me look down from time to time because I'm reading notes. These are cells that contain a single large fat droplet, which forces the nucleus to be squeezed into a thin rim at the periphery. They have receptors for insulin, sex hormones, norepinephrine, and corticoids. You'll see me trip up on words sometimes because I'm giving you the technical words. But I will read the technical definition, but then I will break it down in layman's terms. What does all that mean to you? There was a segment that I did on insulin. I talked mostly about insulin and ghrelin and the difference between ghrelin and leptin and all that stuff. You might want to refer back to that episode. I probably have a total of, I'm guessing here, probably like 8 or 10 wellness shows that I did because I didn't start it till mid-October. So it's worth it to go back and watch it. My shows I'm cutting back on the hours because, like sometimes we can get long-winded. I try to answer a lot of questions, but I have decided that I'm just going to answer, either a common question that a lot of you ask or just one question, at a time. And that's enough to do a show. So I hope you guys drank your water. For those of you who want to chime in and say how much water you drank today, you can do that. I'm at 40 ounces today. And remember, the people who are doing a slow walk journey, there is no dairy, to include cheese. Cheese is part of dairy. But to include eggs, there's no dairy. We don't do any dairy. The only meat we eat is chicken, turkey, tuna fish, and I threw in crab legs and shrimp. That's it. That's the only meat we're eating, and no bread. And that's the slow walk. I haven't even got into simple carbs or complex carbs because I don't want to be too drastic. I think that a lot of people are going to find that their problems is with dairy. And again, I don't need the dairy people to come after me. It's a fact. We love dairy. We put it in a lot of things that you eat, but it don't love us. So we love meat. We love meat, especially Black people. I'm speaking from experience when I say that. Not to say no other group of people don't love meat like we do or experience the things we do. But I know red meat does not like us. It just don't. It doesn't. Black people have a hard time with red meat. They say red meat's supposed to give you iron, but it's the other stuff that gives you. We're herbivores. As humans, we're herbivores. We're not carnivores. We're not supposed to eat nothing that has a spine, 2 eyeballs, and feelings. We're not supposed to eat it. So that is a fact. It's a hard fact to accept, but it is a fact nonetheless. So let's get into these different types of fats. Wink, wink. So white fat, white adipose tissue, as I said, the acronym is WAT. And you might hear me refer to it as WAT, just for short. But it's white fat deposits. That's all it is. The function of it is energy storage. That's what fat is the function for. If you think of bears who, hibernate during the winter, what do? They eat up a lot of crap just to go hibernate. They're going to sleep the winter off. Do we really believe that they go into a cave? I mean, I know that's the preferred narrative. That's how they maybe explain it to children in cartoons. But do we really believe a bear goes into a cave and just sleep the whole winter? I'm sure they get up, but they know that food would be scarce, so they stock up for the winter. And remember, whenever you eat something, if you don't digest it right away, it turns into adipose tissue, which is fat. First, it turns into sugar, and then it turns into fat. And fat is evenly deposited all around your body. At least it's supposed to. Now, when you get older, it don't seem like that's what it's doing, like it's having an even deposit, because your body start dysmorphing, because you're getting older, That has a lot to do with your muscle tone and all that stuff. But the function of WAT, that is white adipose tissue, is energy storage. It's fatty acids released when fuel is needed. It's storage. What do you put anything in storage for? Safekeeping, right? You can have that. Some of us have storage units, that we made in our house. Some of us actually go get storage units. You're not done with that item. You may come back to it and use it later. But that's what adipose tissue is. They don't know if you need it later. They storing it for the sole purpose of using it later. And I told you, first it turns to sugar and then it turns fat. So if it's sugar, then that means that's what your body runs off of, right? I explained to you how for everything you eat, your body breaks it down so it can be usable. And usually that's broken down to sugar molecules. And when you have 3 sugar molecules, then you want to mix that with a insulin molecule, which is a sugar molecule, just to get into your cells so that you can use it for fuel and energy, right? Just think of it like that. It's storage. And fatty acids are released when fuel is needed. So when you need it in case of a famine or, nowadays in this country at least, there's not supposed to be no famine going on. But you have people who don't have financial means that can get to food like they want to. There's people, starving in America. And I'm sure in other countries around the world. So I'm just saying, you need fuel. And at times when it's hard times, meaning financially in your life, you're not able to buy adequate amount of food for your home or for you to eat, period, then your body is going to use the stored fat to fuel it. Because your body has to be fueled every day. It doesn't take off a day. It has to be fueled every day. So when it needs fuel and you're not able to put the fuel in your body, i.e. eat it, then it's going to turn to the only thing it can turn to is the stored fat. It's going to break it down back into sugar, and that's the beautiful thing about your body. Your body can break stuff down, turn it into one thing, then turn it into another thing for storage. But then when it needs it, it could do a reversal. So that's pretty cool, right? So that's what it's doing. Also, it's used for normal glucose, homeostasis. We already had said what homeostasis is. For this purposes of this show, just think of homeostasis as a check weight. Think of it with weight. Like it's a check weight or check state of your being. So everybody has one. It could be another female, same age as me, same height as me, same race as me, same bone structure as me, and we both can weigh different things. But your homeostasis weight, if you look at it like what weight that I can be where I'm at my most optimal. Let's say for shits and giggles, my homeostasis weight, let's say it's 155. I don't weigh nowhere near 155. I weigh more than that, just so you know. Let me turn this off because you're going to hear my phone. Sorry about that. So let's say I weigh 155, right? At 155, I can run my fastest. I could play ball. I could box. I could do whatever. I'm at my best. I could compete. I'm never tired. I'm just doing everything good. I could do backwards flips. I could do whatever. Now, let's say I weigh 175. Some of those things that I did at 155, I ain't gonna be that great at 175. It's because my homeostasis weight's telling me that, and I don't know how we know it. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know how each individual know it. Because like I said, you can have the same person, same setup as me, same race as me, same height as me, same bone structure as me. We can even come from the same person. My homeostasis weight could be 155. Theirs could be 156. Or it could be off by ounces. It's, everybody has their own. So at 175, I don't run as fast. But I can still run, but I don't run as fast. Maybe my agility or reflexes is not as good. It's a set weight that dictates you at your most optimum. But understand this too. Every time people in life just gain weight, let's say you gain 10 pounds and you going back and forth every month. I gain 10 pounds, I lose 10 pounds again, especially women, because we get cycles and you gain weight when you come on your cycles. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us. And I know that they say proverbial, I don't know, they'll say, oh, you're supposed to gain anywhere between 3 and 5 pounds when you get your cycle. Well, a lot of us women out here be like, bullshit a lot of. Because I felt like I was gaining like 10 pounds sometimes, it seemed like. I mean, it really did seem like that. And then after your cycle, all that weight just disappears. So women will fluctuate with weight every month depending on their cycle, depending on how their cycle works. So you gain some weight. So let's say 10 pounds. You get that off real easy. You be like, oh shit, I can't button my pants. I need to get this, 10 pounds off. You feel it. Maybe nobody can see it, on the outside looking in. Especially if you're tall or, your bone structure is a little bigger, you won't see it. But to somebody shorter and have a thinner bone structure set up, they can gain 3-4 pounds and you see it. But anyway, you gain this weight. You notice it. You go on a campaign, whether it's in the gym or you change how you eat for about a week. Boom, you lose it. But to the people who gain the 10, be like, damn, okay, I got to be careful. But they don't be careful. Then they gain another 10 pounds. Damn, I got to be careful. Well, this is not something etched in stone. This is just something I'm telling you that I've noticed and I've experienced and I've talked to people. And this is just my theory or my consensus with that set weight thing. If you gain 20 pounds and you let it sit there for like 3 months, that is your new set weight. Let me repeat. If you gain 20 pounds and you let that sit there for 3 months, that is your new set weight. Your body will always struggle and fight to stay at your set weight, believe it or not. It will always do that. But after 3 months or something, they'll be like, okay, you no longer 155, you 175. Because that's now your new set weight. Now you really got to work to get that fat off. And that's when you getting into the realm of fat, white fat, brown fat. Maybe you got some of that. You hope you got some of that. Or visceral fat, which is white fat, but it's placed in a different position. So it makes it harder when you just let it sit. But if you gain, let's say you gain 20 pounds in a month, and you be like, I'm getting this shit out. It'll come off much more easier than if you wait 3 months or so or more to try to address it. So fat is funny, it's almost like it has a mind of its own. But we know the function of white adipose tissue, which is to be, energy storage. It's energy storage for whenever your body needs it. Why your body would need it? You can go through stuff like famine. You can have financial issues where you can't afford food. Whatever the case, you could be locked up or in a predicament where somebody's starving you to death. You never know. But your body will store fat just for a rainy day, so to speak. And and like I said, fatty acids are released, which is fuel that's needed whenever it's needed. If you don't have financial problems and you're not in a predicament where your body got to store fat, and it does store fat, guess what? Because you keep eating, it's just fat. And then you keep eating, you put more fat. And then you keep eating, you put more fat. And that's when you look up one day and you be like, man, I gained a lot of weight. Okay. Where is it found? It's found, talking about white adipose tissue, it's found underneath your skin in your subcutaneous fat. And that's around internal organs. That's what we call visceral fat. We'll take a moment to talk about that. So you got fat underneath your skin. What's the difference between that and visceral fat? Fat underneath your skin could be like when you raise your hand, you got that little jiggly underneath. You can get rid of fat right underneath your skin like that. Easy. It's the visceral fat that's hard to get rid of. And when you have a lot of fat on your body, it's like your body has a protocol or priority of getting rid of fat. I'll explain. So there's people who exercise, and you say, I see it in my neck first when I'm losing weight. Like I saw the weight come from my neck first. Or somebody can say, yeah, when I exercise, my thighs get smaller first. Or somebody, never where you want it, right? Never where you want it. Some people can say, my torso is the last thing to lose weight. It's like, it seems as if you're losing weight in different areas first, but it's not really the case, but it seems like it. So visceral fat is harder to get off than just regular fat underneath the skin. Regular fat underneath the skin, if that's the only fat we had to deal with, is that it went into that location and stopped there. Oh my God, everybody, the exercise business wouldn't be $1 billion. The diet business wouldn't be $1 billion. And people would get that off quick. It's that visceral fat. Because when you build in fat, you build fats for another reason too, for cushioning. That sounds crazy, but it's true. Sometimes it's for cushioning. People like, especially with women, men like to be as cushiony, like soft and, voluptuous and curvy and all that cushion. So when you have visceral fat, the difference is that fat's position as opposed to the jiggly arms. Visceral fat is around your organs, your vital organs. So you'll get fat built around your heart, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, your pancreas, all of that stuff. You can get fat around all of those things. It's hard to get them off. That one is stubborn. So a lot of times, ladies, when we were saying that if you're expecting to lose weight in a couple of weeks from starting the program, then you're setting yourself up for heartbreak, because we are designed to carry fat. And our fat don't want to, it's almost like if that's what you're trying to do. If your body and your mind knows that's what you're trying to do, it seemed like they would go on a campaign to work against that. Like, we ain't gonna let you lose weight. That would it seemed like. So I told women, don't expect nothing for at least 8 weeks. Like if you go into the gym and you busting it out, that's one way to trim up. It's not the only way. But you go into the gym and you busting it out, don't expect no results in the first couple of weeks. We're not men. We're not designed to cut fat. They are. We're not. We're designed to hold fat. That's the difference. But visceral fat for anybody is hard. When you start your program, diet, journey, whatever, you have to lose it in the visceral area first. You're not going to see this because you're not cutting yourself open to look inside and say, oh, let me go ahead on and see this fat that's surrounding my heart or my liver or my kidneys or even my ovaries or whatever. You can't see that. But that's the fat you have to work off first. And it's stubborn as hell. Because why? It won't supposed to be there. Of all the places to have fat, you should not have fat around your organs. You already have a covering around your organs that's necessary. And believe it or not, it's called melanin. I don't care what race you're a part of, black, white, whatever. All the races, every human being, every mammal, there's a covering around vital organs, and it's like a protectant. It's like a cushioning. You don't need to add fat around it. And that protective or that cushioning is called melanin. We all have melanin, y'all. And so now you put the visceral fat over top of it, and what happens is you constrict it. So if you have a heart, and I'm a visual show it as best I could. So if you have a heart and your heart go boom, boom, and it go that far, when you got the fat around it, now it go boom, 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 and it's gotta do it faster just to be able to do the main job of boom. A lot goes on in this boom, from here to here, pump of the heart. A lot is going on. Blood is being pumped. There's so much is going on. Now you constrict that with the fat, and then it's not going that far. Now, instead of doing one good boom, it has to do 2 or 3 of them just to equal the boom. That's what fat be doing. That will cause domino effects on you. This is why when you overwork the heart, you can have strokes, heart attacks, whatever. Fat can be a culprit, not necessarily the cause of, but it could be a culprit with a combination of things. Because once you have that, again, as I say, you start a domino effect. This is why it's important not to allow a buildup of visceral fat around your organs. But you don't know, because all you know is what you see on the outside. You see my arms are jiggly, my legs are jiggly, I got stretch marks. You see the underneath the skin fat. You don't see the fat that's covering your organs, and that's not good. But those are the different positionings of fat deposit droplets, however they want to call it. So if it's found underneath the skin and it's subcutaneous, it's subcutaneous fat. Like I talked about, the visceral, which is around your organs, internal organs. They could be in central cavity of bones, like your bone marrow. Think about when you make a turkey. I know when I make my turkey, it'd be a carcass left. But even though we think we got all the meat off the bone, we still got meat on the bone, right? Got meat in the bone, so to speak. But y'all think the dogs be going for when they love to eat on them bones. We'll boil it down and more meat would have fell out. We be like, I thought I got it all. Humans same way. There's meat everywhere. Or fat everywhere. It's used for cushioning various parts of the body. Like you'll find a lot of fat depending on to women with big breasts and men with big breasts. You might not have breasts per se, but you got big pecs. Meaning, if you were a woman, you would probably be top heavy. But breasts none the least. You can have fat build up in there. That's adipose tissue. That's all genetics, how that's set up. Also with your butt. Adipose tissue surrounding them butt muscles. That's all genetic and how it's all set up for you there. You got markers like leptin and adiponectin. And remember we talked about leptin and the importance of leptin. Again, I'll tell you to refer to a previous show for that one. The different colors of fat can be yellow, white, brown, and blue. And they deposit it all over the body. So when you start losing fat, it's not, even though you think, oh, first place I lose fat is in my face, in my cheeks, or my neck. It's not really true. You lose it evenly all around your body. When your body feels that it needs that stored fat, it pulls it evenly from all over your body. So maybe your body is saying, and I don't know what controls that. Some type of way, the brain is telling the body or whoever that controls that in the body, we need about 15% of the stored fat, and they will take that 15% and break it down to something usable, and the body would use it. And guess what? You have lost weight, 15% evenly around your body, but you may not see it with the naked eye evenly. And that's pretty much what fat is. Then you have brown fat. Um, Anything of color is going to be better. Anything of color is always said it. Like you've heard, darker the berry, sweeter the juice. So anything of color is going to be better. So brown fat is always like a heat thing. It's always active. It's burning. It's actually doing something, and that's the preferred fat you want. You know who has an abundance of brown fat? Children. They just do. Unless you feed your children negative food. I'm gonna say negative because it's negative to the body, which we all know as adults, like you might like bread, but it might not like you. Um, you might like milk, but it doesn't like you. So that's what I mean by negative foods that we can feed our kids. Children have an abundance, like their ratio of brown fat to white fat is the opposite of most adults' ratio of white fat to brown fat. They have an abundance of brown fat. I mean abundance. This is why children are typically smaller and active, because there's a lot of heat combustions going on, and they moving around a lot. I've explained like a average 8-year-old is probably taking like 80,000 steps a day. That's a lot. If I could challenge anybody in here to take 80,000 steps, they wouldn't be able to do it. I couldn't do it. Look, at 20,000, I'm gonna be like, okay, it's enough. It's not enough time in a day. For me to take 80,000 steps, I would need 3 days to count as one. But these kids, they do it in one day. And they have a lot of energy. And we just chop it up because the easy way to explain it is they're kids. The best way I explain it or look at it is they ain't been on the earth young enough for us to decontaminate their bodies. So their bodies are more working on an optimum level. A lot of people associate different things and different ways about you to age, and we can because it appears to be that way. But it's really not age that slow you down. It's you slow down. Your interests in life and what you want to do slow down. Because 20-year-olds have a lot of energy, but they don't want to run around and play cops and robbers or, shoots and ladders and be bopping around all like kids do. They don't want to do that, but they will in the club, won't they? It's about your energy level. If you allow yourself to not use it, you'll lose it, right? And kids use everything. This is why they have the right type of adipose tissue. It just automatically turns brown, I guess, for them. So we talked about the differences, which was storing excess calories. Because in a sense, white adipose tissue is storing excess calories. Remember, if I said it was fuel, then it's calories, right? If we storing it, we storing calories. And we know that calories supposed to be the marker used to determine how many fat molecules you can lose. So I think it's 3,600 calories. You can lose 1 pound of fat. 1 pound of fat with 3,600 calories. Okay, and brown adipose tissue generates heat and burn calories. Brown adipose tissue don't stay in there for long because it's burning up. Can you turn white adipose tissue into brown? You sure can. That's a whole nother story. So I'm gonna read this glossary because the next stuff I'm gonna read, I might mention it, and I just want you to know what that means before I mention it. Okay, lipids. You hear a lot of people talk about lipids. Lipids is part of a cell. You know, you can go in depth about lipids, but for this program, we don't have to. But you'll hear people talk about it, so I'm going to give you the definition. Lipids are fatty acids insoluble in water, but soluble in organic solvent. Lipids are usually your vitamin A, D, E, and K. Okay, lipids has like it's fatty acids. It has to do with proteins. It has to do with the cells, like the amount of water you can let in, the amount of water you don't let in, or it's you don't need to know all about that. But when you start the things you should know, you're gonna hear them say lipids. But I just told you what they are. They're fatty acids, part of a protein pack or whatever. Like just it's not that important to know, but now you kind of know is probably talking about the cells when you're talking about lipids. Ectopic. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of an ectopic pregnancy. Is when they'll say you get pregnant in the tubes. Well, everybody get pregnant in the tubes. So it makes it sound confusing, right? But it means that the egg didn't travel the path that it's supposed to get down to the uterus. It got pregnant in the tubes and it stayed in the tubes. An ectopic pregnancy, when your body recognizes it will abort your kid. That's why a lot of women have miscarriages, because a lot of times that shit happens a lot more than you people think. But ectopic for this is an abnormal place or position. But you see how I just talked about the pregnancy? So it's the same thing. Ectopic is just an abnormal place or position. Ectopic pregnancy is you're getting pregnant in the tubes, which we all do. Our ovaries shoot the egg to the fallopian tube. As it's traveling down the tube, that's when the sperm pregnates, or meet up with the egg. The egg now is fertilized. It's still supposed to go on that journey and get to the uterus and attach itself there. For whatever reason, sometimes it don't. It just stays in the tube. Your body recognizes it, it aborts it. But it's in the whole problem with that whole thing is that the egg didn't continue the journey to the uterus. It stayed in the tube. Ain't nobody gonna be able to grow a baby in the tube. The tubes were not meant to carry the egg for more than a week. You know what I'm saying? It's just not meant to do that. Because what's gonna happen? Of course, your baby's gonna grow, and it'll kill a woman. If your body don't abort it, it can possibly kill a woman. So, but your body knows, like, this is not the position the egg's supposed to be in, so abort. And ectopic, that's all it's saying, is an abnormal position. Hepatocytes. I'm going to pronounce it like that. Hepatocytes. Whenever you hear the word cytes, you just think cells, okay? Cells are important because when we talk about finding the health in us, we're talking about getting stuff out of us, detoxing things out of us so that we can have good things coming in the cells. Wink, wink. Right? Right? So when you hear the word cytes, that's just talking about cells. And for this show, it's important. It's important. So hepatocytes, chief functioning cells of the liver. Remember we talked about the liver that day? And we talked about the two jobs the liver have, and one is a primary job and one is not. And we talked about that and the performance that it does and what it's supposed to do. So the hepatocytes, chief functioning cells of the liver, and performs an astonishing number of metabolic, endocrine, and secretory functions. So, okay, go back to the liver. The liver's main job is to filter. You have several filtering systems. in your body. You got the liver, you got the spleen, you got the gallbladder. All of these things are filtering the kidneys, but they all might have secondary jobs. But we talking about the liver. It is the main station where the thyroid T4 cells drop off to be converted into usable stuff. Usable what type of stuff? Metabolic stuff. Metabolism. Metabolism that you create or generate in your body is better or more powerful than anything you could do in the gym. Anything you could do in the gym. I would almost say maybe anything you can eat is more powerful than that. But to the person who doesn't create metabolism or don't make it at all, you will have a hard time with weight. Therefore, you will have a hard time with other things. It can be your heart. It's a domino effect, right? Because you're gonna easily create white adipose tissue as opposed to brown adipose tissue, and you're gonna have a lot of storage because where's the metabolism gonna come from if you're not creating it? And if y'all watch my previous shows, I don't have a thyroid gland. That little butterfly-shaped gland that's supposed to be right here in the front of your neck, I don't have mine. Mine was removed about 25 years ago. So I'm not getting it. But you guys are. So what did I just read? Hepatocytes are the chief functioning cells of the liver. In order for your organs to do a job, they have to replenish cells. That's what talking about blood cells, y'all. So blood makes the body work. If you think of it like that, blood makes the body work. Blood has to be fed. It has to reproduce. And you reproduce the cells every day of your life. So this go back to what you feed them cells is going to be dependent on how well everything works. If you giving those cells bull crap, then the organ that is pumping is going to give you work that's bull crap. So the liver's primary job is to filter. That means filter the stuff that you ate to break it down even more. It won't do any other job until it's done with that. It won't do its second primary job, which is metabolic functions. So when the T4 get to the liver, that's where the conversion happens, and the T4 is now turned into something usable for the blood, i.e. the blood, which is called T3. The blood cannot take it in the form of T4, but that's how it's released from your thyroid gland. So the brain tells your thyroid gland, release X amount of T4. It comes down through your body, down through your digestive tract, through your small intestine. It does a journey. Gets to the liver. Now it's at the liver. And he's saying, okay, we here. Use me. And the liver's like, all right, y'all sit tight. Go in the waiting room over there. This person just ate a cheeseburger and a pizza and all this other stuff. I got to filter this shit. I'll get to you when I can. Well, your body can't filter shit that it can't use. I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to give it a gallant try, but it's going to be very difficult. So the whole day, you got 24 hours in a day. So for like 18 hours or 20 hours of that day, your body been trying to filter this cheeseburger and this pizza. I'm painting the picture for y'all. Been doing filtering and shit. After you ate that, you kind of 2-3 hours later, you was hungry again. So you ate something else because why are you hungry? Because you didn't eat what your body said it was hungry for. You starving your body and your brain. So your brain keeps saying, we hungry. Because you ain't giving it the proper sugar that it needs. So it keeps saying, we hungry. You feeling the hunger pain, so you go out and you get something to eat. But you never give the brain or your body what it wanted to eat. So it stay hungry. So now The filter it could have took like, I don't know, 18 hours to just filter that first thing you ate. Now you ate something else, it's like, God damn, I gotta filter this to another 18 hours. Meanwhile, your T4 is building up like a parking lot in the waiting room, waiting to be metabolized, and in your filter, and your liver never gets around to it. So you don't get metabolism. So what are you doing? You're gaining weight. That's how that works, y'all. So hepatocytes, chief functioning cells of the liver, and performs an astonishing number of metabolic endocrine. Endocrine is, when you talk about the thyroid, that's the endocrine system, and secretory function. 80% of the mass of the liver. And they telling you, the liver, imagine how that looks. They saying 80% of that liver is contributed by hepatocytes. So even though metabolic functions might even be a primary job of the liver, it really might be the preferred primary job, and filtering might be the secondary job. But even though that could be the case, and I don't know that to be the case, the liver will not make it its primary job. The liver is going to filter first. It just is. It's going to filter first and metabolize second. It just does. And then you got myocytes. Again, when you hear the word cytes, think cells. Muscle cells, either cardiac or smooth, they are both small cells. That will matter in the time to come, but you hear me talk about that, so I just figure I'd give it to you. But myocytes are important. Around cardiac or smooth, So you don't have to look into that, but it matters. It does matter. And then we got leptin. And now remember we talked about leptin. I brought this back up or put this in just as a refresher a little bit. Leptin is a gauge for energy reserves and directs the central nervous system. Excuse me. The central nervous system to adjust the food intake and energy by acting on the brain to regulate appetite. What a mouthful. Leptin got a lot to do with your appetite. It got a lot to do with your satiety hormone. So with the leptin, think satiety. I'm full. It regulates hunger. It regulates hunger because satiety means I'm full. Leptin release, that's a hormone. Leptin release will be like, I'm full. That's what your brain is saying. So you're full. It's made by the fat cells, believe it or not, and that decreases your appetite. So whenever they say satiety, it means you're full, you're good to go. That's what your brain thinks. Okay? But remember, it's like when you eat, it's almost like you hit a sensor. And that sensor tells your brain, okay, we about to eat, we full, we good, don't worry about it, go on and take a nap. So you eat that cheeseburger and it hits that sensor before it even get down to the digestive tract. Your brain is like, oh, okay, she ate something, we're going to chill. I'm going to go and take a nap or whatever. But then in the middle of the sleep, the brain be like, hold on, look, we ain't eat nothing. I thought she ate. And then your brain get up and then it's like, somebody do something. Tell this girl to go eat something. So now you like, damn, I'm hungry again. I just ate an hour and a half ago. Let me go eat this slice of pizza. I don't know why I keep using those type of foods. It could be sandwiches. It could be hoagies. It could be whatever. So then you go out and you get that slice of pizza and you're like, okay, all right, I'm about to eat this. And then it hits the sensor again. And your brain be like, here comes some food. Okay, cool. Go lay down again. I'm going to take my nap. Then 3 hours later, your brain said, whoa, wait a minute now. We've been up 6 hours. I ain't ate shit in 6 hours. I thought she ate. The sensor said that she ate something. And now you're hungry again. Be like, you're snacking. You're doing this, that, and the other. But your brain knows that it did not get the food it needs, because that pizza and that cheeseburger and them sandwiches you make at home and that cheese and them eggs and all that stuff, it don't have nothing in it to feed the brain. So the brain is going to keep bothering you saying I'm hungry, and you're going to keep eating, and you're going to keep building white adipose tissue because you can't use it. But I told y'all, everything you eat turns to sugar, and sugar eventually turns to fat. Everything you eat. If the sugar that it can't be used, it's going to turn to fat. So therefore, you just building up this white adipose tissue, building it, building it, building it. Now the body is so resilient and funny that even if it's sugar, like in the beginning, when a person is too proud to ask for help, I'm not asking my neighbor to borrow anything because I don't want her to know we broke like this. I'm not gonna ask to, get this kind of help because I don't want nobody to know I need help every now and then. When your body too proud to ask for help, it ain't gonna say nothing. It's not gonna say nothing. And so what it would do is it'll find a way to use some sugar that it can't even use. When your body is in fight or flight mode, and which it can be, and your body would be like, all that white adipose tissue, even though it want the best sugar, that's all we got. We gotta take it how we can get it, and it'll use it. But your body have to be in that mode to even do it. If your body is not in that mode, because i.e. you got a home, you got a job, you're able to feed yourself, you financially can afford whatever you need, then you'll never put your body in that mode, and your body be like, look, that's you eating that shit. We don't use it. We're not going to use it. So go on and turn that sugar into fat because we can't use it. So store it over there. Put it in the ass. Put it in her breast. Put it in her arms. Put it in her neck. Put it in her head. Put it in her torso. We're not finna use it. But leptin is the gauge for energy reserves, and it gives you that feeling of satiety. So I'm full. But it don't mean that you really are full. It regulates your hunger because you just ate something. You're like, oh man, I should be nice and good. You're going to feel that thump in your stomach like, I just ate that whole piece of that. That joint was hitting. But you're not really full. Now, and I said, you made it out of your fat cells. That's what leptin comes out of, the fat cells. And it tries to regulate your body. It tries to do the balance. But when you eating stuff that your body can't use, the balance is going to be thrown off anywhere. And a balance anywhere in the body is a balance everywhere in the body. So now you got ghrelin. You got the ghrelin, right? And the ghrelin, remember we talked about the difference between leptin and ghrelin. So leptin, ghrelin, insulin, they all coming from like around the same area or place. Leptin, as you say, as I just said, comes or generates out of the fat, white adipose tissue, but it works in conjunction with your pancreas. Ghrelin and insulin comes out of your pancreas, right? And remember how I always tell y'all, I said being hungry is not a real thing. It's not per se a real thing. But if you want to believe this is a real thing, keep believing it. But if you go on this journey and you subscribe, look, there's my email down the bottom. I always have my number scrolling across the bottom, 706-804-4449. It's a Google number, so it's free. And then Boxing Fans Talk at Gmail. The email is scrolling down the bottom. So you guys got my email. You can call in. You can beam in, which is like saying FaceTime, or you can talk about it in the chat. But ghrelin increases the appetite. Ghrelin is that thing that makes you growl. Your stomach growls. When your stomach growls, it's no escaping it. You can hear it. Sometimes you can feel it. So it's kind of like, is it a tangible thing? It feels like that. So, Miss T, why would you say it's not a real thing? Because it only comes out when you have ghrelin, exposed or released in your system, which is a hormone. But you will never have ghrelin released from your hormone if you're eating properly, or even just eating, period. Ghrelin is a way, that's something that's like a byproduct or a side effect of ghrelin being released in your hormone. Now they be like, ghrelin increases your appetite. Ghrelin, this is why we associate it with hunger, because how do I say this? So, but not for ghrelin being released in your body, and it will if you go for 8 hours, some people, or 12 hours, and you haven't eaten anything. Ghrelin is what's going to happen. It's the byproduct of not eating. When your stomach is laying dormant, you're going to produce ghrelin. Okay, it's supposed to increase your appetite, so you're associated with hungry, being hungry. And I get it. I mean, I'm in tomato, whatever. But if you think about it real good, hunger is not a real thing, because if you were eating, you wouldn't, always produce a lot of ghrelin. And people's like, okay, well, I mean, still, Miss T is hungry. You're being hungry. That is a real thing. But here's the thing. You can eat without even engaging your stomach. And if you did that, you wouldn't produce ghrelin. So is being hungry a real thing? Or is it more so a byproduct of the fact that it's a hormone that's going to be released because you didn't activate your stomach by eating? And so it's one of those things, It's one of those things. You can have liquid secreting from your ear. And you don't always have to have an ear infection for that to happen. And sometimes you have to have an ear infection for that to happen. But liquid secreting from your ear could be numerous reasons. But it don't just necessarily mean you have an ear infection. I mean, I'm trying to think of an analogy why I come to the realization that being hungry is not a real thing. Because when your body gets the nutrients it needs, you'll never, what we call hungry, you'll never experience that again. If your body continuously every day got the nutrients you need, So ghrelin increases your appetite, which regulates or plays a role in your body weight. Simple as that. Ghrelin don't just release just to be, like, it does something. Like, energy is never wasted to store. Once it's released, think of Pac-Man when he eating those power pellets or those pellets. He's going across the screen, this, that, and that. When ghrelin is released into your system, and my hands are ashy, but that's the eczema. That's how much it tore up my hands, so I apologize. When ghrelin is released, we should all want ghrelin to release into our system. Again, if you want it to release in your system, all you got to do is not eat for 8 hours. Then there's some people it might take 12 hours. Miss T, why would you advise people not to eat? You fasting anyway. Your body does more repair and rejuvenation and everything when you don't eat. You want me to prove it? Anybody who's had a surgery, right? They have a surgery. They come out of surgery. Do they feed you? No. In fact, they don't feed you for a couple of days. Now, before the surgery, before you went in there, you was like, you had to eat every day, right? You won't go in no 8, 10. You won't even go in 5 hours without eating, right? But you have a surgery and you don't eat for 3 days, depending on how severe your surgery is. But you don't come out of surgery and eat. In fact, there's a method to that madness. Sorry, y'all. Finish this water out. They purposely don't feed you. Why? It might sound crazy, but it's not crazy. They purposely don't feed you because guess what? You have a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. So I get the two confused, but one of them works when everything's cool. You're not in danger. You ain't had no surgery. You cool. You just telling you living your life. The other one works in like almost like a hibernation or like a protective mode. I mean, I say hibernation because like you're in a different zone at that point. Like, um, hibernation might not have been the best word, but like to use to describe this, but like you're in a different zone. Like it's fight or flight or whatever the case. When you're in fight or flight mode, you're not hungry. Think about it. You never are hungry. You're not even thinking of food. When you have surgery and you're coming out of surgery, or if you're in pain, you notice how when you're in pain, you're not hungry? Why? Because your body heals and repairs itself and rejuvenates better when you're fasting. It just does. And that's what ghrelin, like I said, ghrelin recognizes when you're fasting. And you don't have to be fasting on purpose. It's just fasting means you're not eating. You're not putting nothing in your stomach for your stomach hormones to activate, for the insulin to be activated, and all that stuff. That's all fasting is. But your body works better, rejuvenates, repairs, recharges everything when you're fasting. Another way to prove it, when you go to sleep, you're fasting. You burn more calories in your sleep. You rejuvenate, you recharge, you do all those things in your sleep more than you could have done all day. All day. And why? Because you was fasting and you was in sleep mode. So ghrelin is activated. If you go to bed at 9 p.m. on a regular day, ghrelin is activated. You understand? It's activated. And by the morning time, that's why you burn more calories. Because you're fasting. Little did you know. That's what breakfast is supposed to be. Break fast. But anywho, ghrelin increases the appetite. So let me move on. That's what it's supposed to do. You want ghrelin to let loose up in your body, because once ghrelin's favorite food to eat, believe it or not, because you got to feed it, its favorite food is white adipose tissue. And it eats it up like nobody business. So what am I saying in the end? Fasting is good for you. However you fast, you can fast and still eat nutrients, or you can fast and don't eat. Either way, both of them good, just as long as you drink plenty of liquids like water. The main function of white adipose tissue is to collect, store, and the release of lipids, also as a protective cushion, also a layer of insulation against excessive heat loss. The bigger you are, the more fat you have on you, the better you're insulated. That is true. Why is WAT considered bad? It leads to ectopic fat, this depositions. So, like basically the positioning of the fat, you know, is abnormal. Remember, ectopic is abnormal positioning. So, like a lot of people who gain weight, they gain weight inside their thighs or the outside. Or you know how your body start dysmorphing. It don't really look shapely because you gained a lot of weight. That's what that is saying. Like lipid accumulation in hepatocytes in the liver and myocytes in the skeletal muscle. These are cells. Cells have to replenish every day. And basically, you getting in the way of your cells doing what they got to do. If the cells don't replenish every day like it's supposed to, then you're going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a problem in generating what you need to generate. Wink, wink. So, you just gotta be cognitive of that. You know what I'm saying? You have to be real cognitive of what you're supposed to do. and how your body's supposed to work, and that way you can make it work for you. This is why I go into this. This is why I even have the show, because I believe all of us as Americans been hoodwinked, and if we know how things supposed to work, I actually believe that you should teach anatomy as early as sixth grade, like some form of it. Give it in dosage. Because there's a lot of people walking around don't even know how the body's supposed to function. They just don't. They just don't. And the way they teach it in college or upper levels, they give you a lot at one time. And it's the reason why it's a hard class, because it's almost like you're learning a new language and the all these body parts all at once and how they function. And it's a lot. It's because of how they give it to you. And this technically it's the best way to give it to you. Because I've thought about it, like, once you slow it down and spread that shit apart and take 2 years to do one, anatomy class, and there's several anatomy classes you will have to take if you're going in that medical field. But no, it's better to give it to you all at once. You have to be able to keep up. Why it says a different language? Because look at these words. Look at the hepatocytes. Hepatocytes. I mean, who says that on a regular? Just the way they say it. We'll say fingers, they'll say phalanges, digitals, or whatever. Like, it's just crazy. It's a new language. It's Latin, and most of medical terms are in the language of Latin. So this is why I say it's like you're learning a new language, and you're learning a whole lot of stuff all at once, to include the parts as well as how they function. Okay. And it promotes insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Remember, I was telling y'all, if you was ever told that you have insulin resistance, go ahead and put it in your head that they're basically telling you got type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes is not something people are born with. It's something we create. It's your body. When I be telling y'all, like, don't judge everything like by what you see all the time. You can't judge a book by its cover. I do this program and I know it works. But here I am. The damage is done to me. There's nothing I can do to go correct or repair everything that was done to me. I can't go back and get another thyroid gland. I'm just assed out. You guys have one. I have no metabolism. I don't make any. That's an integral part of being in shape and this, that, and the other. For those of you who listen to me for the journey of losing weight, it's a big part of losing weight and being in shape and being healthy is your metabolic process. I pretty much don't got one. But yet this shit working for me. So, but it will work way better for you than it will me. And that's why I'm sharing. Okay? So, don't judge a book by its cover. But if you ever been told, you may be a little insulin resistant, you diabetic. They put it in your head like that. And just like you got it, you can undo it. The problem is, once you get to a point that you got diabetes, type 2 that is, look at it like, I'm already damaged. It's the best way to look at it. Meaning, when you was 20 and you was doing all that shit that's going to lead you down to this diabetic pathway, your body was like, putting up a fight, won't let it go down, this, that, and the other. And then one day, your body just stopped putting up the fight. Why? Because you didn't feed it. You starved it to death. It's weak. It's like, would you want to get in the ring with somebody if you haven't eaten in 2 weeks, but they've been eating good the whole time? It's an unfair fight. Your body got to the point like, we're never going to take this abuse anymore. If you eat this bull crap, we're going to give you type 2 diabetes. Period. If you stop eating it, we'll take it away. But it's going to be judged by day basis. You go there again, you're going to get it again. You stop forever, we'll lay back. But we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, fine, you back to when you started off when you was young. No. It's going to be like day by day. We're going to see what you do tomorrow. Today was a good day. We're going to see what you do tomorrow. That's what it's going to keep doing. And so I always tell you, you want to change shit before you have to. Because once you get to a point where you have to, like I'm at that point, I have to. Because there's sometimes I can eat and I feel it in my chest like, oh my God, something about to go down. My body is not putting up with me no more. It's not. But I don't have the success that all of you have. But again, I'm willing to share. Um, Again, I'm missing 4 organs, so thank God that's not the problem for most of you. Um, so the foods that burn white adipose tissue, the list was fatty fish, MCT oil. MCT is very important. I suggest on your own time go look that up. MCT has a lot to do with how you, like, if you really get into that, and I won't here, you can kind of turn white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue, but I'm not gonna get into all that. But look up MCT and just go in depth with that. Coffee, eggs, green tea, whey protein, apple cider vinegar, chili peppers, stuff like that. Supposed to, you know, be the type of foods you can use that can burn white adipose tissue. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you're on this journey with me, we trying to clean out the system. We trying to clean out your body, remember? Because we got to find the health in you. We don't know what it is. You know, for me, it was dairy. Why? Because dairy has a lot of sugar. As I explained to y'all before, dairy is meant for another animal, not us. You know, like, especially when you're talking about milk, it's meant to put 500 or so pounds on a baby cow in its first year of life. Our breast milk is meant to put 30, 40 pounds on our babies in the first year of life. Milk has nothing but fat in it. It's good fat, but it's good for my baby, not good for a cow. I give my milk to a cow, they're not going to make it. They get their milk to us, we'll make it, but we'll be dysmorphed. It's a lot of sugar and fat in dairy products. And most of them dairy products got fat in it that you cannot consume. Your body isn't a cow. You don't walk on all fours. You don't eat what they eat. You don't get as big as they get. You can't digest the things that they digest, and they can't really digest the things that you digest. If they eat what you eat, they're not going to be healthy. They're going to die. If you eat what they eat, you're not going to be healthy. You're going to die. But they're not going to be healthy because they're going to literally starve to death. They literally going to starve to death. So, but what does all of this mean to you with the white adipose tissue? In layman's terms, I said all of that, and I gave you the background and all that. But in the end of the day, in layman's terms, white adipose tissue is stored in your body to be used later, maybe. You know, it's also used for cushioning in your body and insulating your body, keeping your body warm. Okay, it's a purpose for it. Does it look good? No. Is it what you like? No. Can it get out of hand? Yes. A little white adipose tissue can be a good thing because, as I said, women are designed to carry fat. If you're designed to create life and carry life, you're designed to carry fat. Now, men create life too. They just don't carry it. So they're not designed to carry fat. So white adipose tissue will always be found on women. The problem with white adipose tissue, it would be one thing if it's subcutaneous fat, meaning underneath your skin. It's the other thing when it's around your organs. Now your organs can't get the full pump, like I gave the example of your heart. It would take 3 fast pumps of your heart to equal 1 full pump of your heart. And that's what happens when you collect white adipose tissue at an alarming rate. If you're not feeding your body is starving. That's why you keep being hungry. We make the joke of Chinese food. It was like you eat the food, hour later you're still hungry, and that can be with actually any food. Anytime you eat and a couple of hours later you're hungry again, and then you're hungry again, you're snacking all day. The reason you're doing that is because you have not fulfilled your body's requirement or addressed the hunger needs of your body. Your brain runs off of sugar. If you don't give it to them, it'll stop fucking up and just discombobulated. You gotta think everything that you do, from walking to moving to laying down to closing your eye to doing whatever to move that body, the message came from your brain. Now, if it starts dysfunctioning or having it's buffering. Let me use that word. Your brain start buffering when it's hungry, and you know when it's buffering, ain't nothing going down. So it's buffering because it's hungry. The brain is where all the messages come from to go to different body organs to tell it to do what it needs to do. From the brain, the hypothalamus going to your thyroid. Hey, today we need 50 liters of T4. If your brain can't send that message and your thyroid don't get that message and it don't send it, we'll see how long you live. Because your body has to register the fact that you release that hormone, the T4, through your body. It has to register that. That's why you cannot live without one. It has to register that. Like me, I don't have one, not even a little piece. But I have to take pills to emulate or, pretend that, hey, T4 is released in my body. I have to do it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, because that's when that normally goes down naturally for people. And so I take the pills, and my body said, oh, she has T4 in here. Whether or not it get used, that's a whole nother section of talk. You know what I'm saying? But the brain has to tell your thyroid gland to release that. That's the first thing. Before you do anything in the morning, it's the first thing that happens. If your brain is buffering and your thyroid is not getting that message, because it's not going to move until your brain tells it. Your brain won't buffer. Let's put it this way. You want the highest, fastest internet? Your brain will never buffer if you feed it. But he or she don't like pizza, and they don't like cheeseburger, and they don't like whatever. And so sometimes it's interruption, it's buffering, it's giving bad information. When you feeding your body stuff that it can't digest, and nor do it like, it be like, okay, look, we'll turn it to sugar, set it over there, it's gonna turn into fat, we'll get to it later. Right now we gotta keep on doing what we gotta do to keep this body moving, keep this workhorse moving. You know what I'm saying? And that's what be going on, y'all. So white adipose tissue, yes, it's necessary. To the person, thank you for that question. I probably went more in depth than you asked, but it is necessary for your body. As we said, it was necessary for insulation, it's necessary for cushioning. Women are designed to carry fat because we have the children. We create and carry the children. So by design, that's needed. When you eating for two, sometimes we have three, and sometimes we have four, like twins, triplets, and so on. You eating everything you eat, they eat. What if you're not eating the stuff that they need? This will probably explain, sorry to say, if anybody have ever been through that. What if you're a very, very unhealthy eater, but on the outside you look fine, socially you cool, but you keep having miscarriages? Maybe your baby in the inside is hungry. It doesn't want the shit that you eat because your body don't want it. Now you may be resilient enough to, go get through the day even though you ain't ate shit, but maybe your baby can't. Maybe your baby absolutely needs nutrients, and you're not feeding it nutrients. Some of us go 20 whole years from early adulthood to like in 40s or something, and you rarely fed your body nutrients. That's 20 years of your body putting up a fight. That's like 20 rounds. if you kind of fashion it to the boxing world. Like every round is 3 minutes. So like every round is a year. Okay? That 3 minutes is a year. There's only 10 or 12 rounds in a professional boxing fight. And there used to be 15. And then they reduced it to 12 because that's really all you need. That's too much as it is. So from the age of 20, you just don't feed it. You don't feed your body anything that it can use. Your body has to, in desperation at times, borrow from different parts just to get the necessary whatever. Your brain is buffering the whole time. You don't know it. Oh, I'm not good at school. I'm not good at math. I just never was a school person. I'm more hands-on. People outthinking you, people getting ahead of you, people using you, whatever. Your brain is buffering. And then you throw on top of that, you drinking or you smoking or whatever vices you have. And your body is existing. You still with us every year for 20 years. And then it gets to 40. And it's like, I can't fight no more. I've used everything I could. Now you're not even able to create and keep a storage of anything. Your body is a storing machine. It stores calcium, vitamin D. It does this all the time. Iron, all the minerals. Now you're depleting those minerals. You're at risk of a stroke or a heart attack. When you start depleting minerals, that's what electrolytes is about. Now you can't store nothing. You weak because you essentially starved yourself to death. You're malnutritious. But I'm 250 pounds, but you malnutritious. I thought malnutritious people were like 105 pounds. No. Mal meaning no. Nutrition. You malnutrition. You starve yourself, but you expect your body to prevent things like cancer and type 2 diabetes when it's weak as hell. But even those disorders, they feed off of something. They have to eat something. Fibroid tumors that a lot of women have experienced, including myself, grow in your body. Well, how the fuck are they growing if they benign? You know what I'm saying? But they have a food source. In order for them to exist, they have to have cells that reproduce. And them cells need fuel and energy. And guess what? That cheeseburger do just fine. But wait a minute, man. If you give me some spinach and some carrots and some, other bullshit, like, now you're going to starve me. Talking about the fibroid tumor. And then, if you change and ate like that, it will starve to death. Talking about that type 2 diabetes and cancer. It will starve to death so much, it will die. And your body will win. So, when we talk about finding the health in you, and we talk about fat and all that stuff, today I concentrated on fat because I was asked a question about it. We talking about detoxing or cleaning up your body, again, to reintroduce the things that you like that might not be good for you, but you can reintroduce it in a way that it's a balancing act where it doesn't overpower anything. You should be more on the side of nutritional stuff than you are on the side of the stuff that you like. It's a balancing act. A lot of people will, Monday through Friday. It depends on the individual. I was gonna try to say a typical schedule, but it really depends on the individual how well you can handle a schedule. But you basically always want to front load everything that's good. So that's a diet too, believe it or not. Get up in the morning. If you know how to measure out whatever, make sure you front load everything nutritional. And then if you got room and time at the end, go on eat that cheeseburger, that pizza, whatever, and them shakes and all. Like, go on and get that. But most of the time, you never get around to it. You never get around to it because you're satisfied. A lot of us don't even know how it feels to be satisfied from your food. So that's all I had today. Thank y'all for joining me. And I will see y'all tomorrow when we go back to boxing talk. Today was a wellness talk. We just went back over white adipose tissue. These are things that I mentioned before in my wellness talk. And so I just, rehashed it because I know this is a common question because most of you are interested in it only because of the weight loss. But again, I have a different approach. But thank you for watching, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Remember, when you know better, you do better. Peace.